My mitigation attorney, when she was preparing my return to civilization, returning citizen, that's what they call it. When she was preparing that packet and trying to find housing for me, she had relationships with, I want to say Holly. And so she reached out to her. This was like maybe a year or so before I was even released. Because my support system, my mom, my daughter live in Indiana, and I wasn't able to leave the state, because of parole and things like that. So anyway, she got in touch with them. So when I was released, and I was released that night at like 9 o'clock at night. So yeah, I didn't make it here until like 1 or 2 in the morning.
That's Melissa. She's a former resident of PBMR's Sankofa Home, a house for women returning from prison. Returning citizens face various struggles, especially those who have been locked up for a significant amount of time. The world has changed a lot in the past few decades. To give one small but huge example, the first iPhone wasn't introduced until 2007. There's a lot to adjust to in the outside world, and that's on top of the emotional toll of being in prison, away from your family, and on top of the stigma returning citizens face, and on top of restrictions regarding employment and housing that can make it feel like your debt to society hasn't really been paid. Sankofa alleviates some of that stress, accompanying residents as they rebuild and move forward. PBMR's mission of restorative justice pushes us to see the dignity of and embrace everyone, no matter what their background. In past episodes, we've heard from mothers and staff who have found and witnessed healing in Circle. Melissa's perspective demonstrates the importance of the non-Circle work that we do. Emotional healing is so important. So is a job and a place to stay. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Together We Heal. You are living in Sankofa Home right now, or have been?
Yeah, I have been, yeah.
What is Sankofa Home?
Sankofa is transitional housing for women released from prison. I don't really think it's like a direct from prison type of program. I think more so people that are already at home through whatever means they find out about PBMR, and then they have an interview process. I didn't come into the program as it's set out. Because, like I said, I was being released. I was an immediate release from prison. I went to court, and they had to release me, and so they needed to find somewhere for me to go.
Why would a place like Sankofa Home be necessary?
Okay, well, for myself, I was incarcerated for 27 and a half years. I was incarcerated at the age of 17, and me personally, I've never lived on my own. I've never had that experience of house hunting, apartment hunting, never worked or anything like that. And then I came home to nothing. Like I said, my support system was out of state. And so had it not been for transitional housing, I wouldn't have had nowhere to go. I would have been essentially homeless, which is a violation of my parole.
Oh.
So
it's a violation of your...
Yes. If you can't have a substantiated address, then yes, it is a violation. And depending on how your parole agent is, you might go back to prison. So places like PBMR and other transitional housing is extremely needed, for people in my situation. But it's not something that's readily available, especially for unique circumstances. Like I said, I was an immediate release. And so you have a couple of hours to get to where you're supposed to get to. If you don't have housing already substantiated, then where do you go?
Yeah.
So places like this are greatly needed for people being released back to society.
So what, besides like the opportunity to not violate your parole by giving you an address, what are some of the other things that Sankofa has offered you?
I mean, like housing with Sankofa, I don't have to worry about paying the bills or the rent, which is a huge relief because I'm not in a position to do any of that. They provide your basic needs, toiletries and things of that nature, household products, which is a huge weight. You know how much detergent costs. Something as simple as detergent is an overwhelming expense for someone who doesn't have a job or means to acquire these things. So just having simple human needs, is a huge relief. While you're trying to navigate finding a job or, so that you're able to take care of yourself. So you have that ease of not worrying about, well, I don't know where I'm going to get soap, toothpaste, or be able to wash myself at because, it's all provided, or where I'm asleep. So that's a weight that's you don't have to worry about. And so it leaves you open to find a job. So that's a huge relief.
Yeah. Okay. I have two questions. First, PBMR, the Restorative Justice Hub, you may have heard this. Have you participated in any circles, or is there anything of that nature for returning citizens?
I mean, personally, I've been a part of the circles, but for me, they're not practical. For those that need that type of support, it's a great thing because, again, this is something that you're not given in prison or out here for real, like getting mental health support and encouragement and things of that nature. You're not given that. And so for those that need it, I think it's a great resource. Me personally, I'm more of a practical person. Circles ain't going to help me get a job. Transitional houses is not forever housing. My focus is on how I can get sustainable income so that I'm able to move on to the next phase of my life. I feel pressure to do certain things, and when I'm not doing those certain things to get to the next steps and that I have planned out in my head, it's a bit overwhelming. So for me, I can't concentrate enough to be in those circles and none of that. It's like I could be doing so many other things. I could be focused on something else. So but I do see the purpose of it. I do see the purpose of it. You have the mother circles and the mothers who's lost their children to gun violence or violence in general. I see the need for it and I respect it. But as a middle-aged woman coming home from prison after 27 years that's trying to establish a life, I can't focus on groups. So for me, they were not very practical.
Well, that was going to be the second part of my question, some of that practical stuff. So I met you pretty early on when I arrived here. And since then, you've accomplished some things. So do you want to talk about your journey since arriving at Sankofa?
Well, okay. Again, I have very type A personality. And so I want to do. It's very hard for me to, if I didn't see the practicality of something, for me to want to do it or participate in it. I've been through different classes, business classes. Do I think it was a waste of time? No. The knowledge, you can't never beat knowledge. I still learn skills that I could use in other areas. However, the skills that I was learning for particular things, once I finished, it's like, you just got to keep getting out there and putting yourself out there when you know that these type of places don't hire people with my background. People in certain fields cannot say that we don't hire felons or we don't hire this type of felon. They don't. And so because legally they cannot say that, they'll let you go through the motions, they'll let you pay for the test, and all this stuff, knowing that they have no intention of hiring you. Even if you're skilled enough to do it, they still won't. It's still that stigma. So I've been through a lot of that ups and downs, disappointments with training and schooling and trying to figure out, okay, what I can do to sustain myself. The best thing I've accomplished is I got my driver's license.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Congratulations.
Thank you. When I never drove before I was incarcerated. So doing one of the programs that they was like, well, it's required that you have a valid driver's license before these companies will even look at you as a potential employee. And so I'm like, well, I ain't never drove before. And so then my daughter and one of my friends was like, well, we gonna show you. And they did. They showed me how to drive, and then I was able to take the exam, and with help from PBMR, I was able to get a little extra training, and I went to take my test, boom, passed. And so that opened up a lot of freedom for me, as far as I didn't have to depend on people to get from doctors or whatever is going on. And it also opened me up to, okay, maybe I can get other employment, because I don't have to be stuck in this one little area. So it opens me up for other employment, which was huge. Then I ended up getting a job where we make the gloves that you use for like construction, welding, electrical, those types of gloves. The money wasn't a living wage, but it still was an accomplishment. You can't save nothing from zero. So anything that you get other than zero is it's an accomplishment. So I'm very proud of the fact that I was working for like 5 months. I do like the fact that I got up every day, went to work, had somewhere to go, had something to do, had a purpose. So I'm very happy about that. So.
This podcast is focusing in on Family Forward. You've mentioned your mom and your daughter. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of family in your life?
I really only seen my mom maybe twice since I've been home, because I live on the second floor of Sankofa, so she can't really come and visit like that. They live almost 2 hours away, so I don't get to see them that much. And my mom is older, and she's dealing with a lot of different health issues. But so being able to just talk to her on the phone, FaceTime with her, because these are things that I couldn't do in prison. You couldn't get the phone every day in prison. And so being able to talk on the phone, do Zoom, do all sorts of just being able to see her face and talk, those things are those are priceless. But my daughter, she comes up when she can. So, we have, our relationship is spectacular. Me and my daughter are super, super, super close. When I tell you, even though I was gone majority of her life, you would never know it. Because even we always wrote letters. We talked on the phone as much as we could. We visited when they were able to come. And so me and my daughter have a very special relationship. There's nothing about me she don't know. We have no secrets between us. It is what it is. Even if you messed up, I messed up. But all right, well, you did mess up, but okay, let's move on. You know what I'm saying? Let's see how we can fix it. So that's the type of relationship we have. I wouldn't trade my relationship with my daughter for nothing in this world. So it's just having that, being able to have that bond. I couldn't have asked for a better daughter. She's the greatest. That's my girl. That's my ace, So, and when I came home, when I tell you this, that's how I got a car too. Her car was paid off. Her car was paid off. And once I got my license, she took on a debt that she didn't have to take on. She bought another car for herself. And now you're paying a car payment just so I could be able to get around. That's the type of relationship we have. Yeah. She didn't want me up here not having a way to get around and stuff like that. So once I got my license, she bought another car that she couldn't afford just so I could be okay. Yeah, that's the relationship that we have.
Thanks for listening to Together We Heal, a podcast from Precious Blood Ministry of Reconciliation. You can support PBMR's mission of hope, healing, and radical hospitality at the link in our description. Subscribe for future episodes, and if you like what you heard, leave a rating and review. Thank you.